Thank you for tuning in to Exit the Fog. I'm your host, Lincoln Gray. And today, I have a great show for you. So what's up? What are you doing here? Just came to make sure you're doing your show. What makes you think I needed your help?
This was supposed to launch a long time ago, right?
I know.
I'm just saying. The show's called Exit the Fog, right? I'm just making sure you on the other side.
Okay.
So who's your guest today?
You know the film I was just in?
Borderline, right?
Well, she wrote it, as well as others. She's actually a writer, director, and filmmaker.
Okay.
She's also the founder of Black Ohio Film Group.
We have a black film group here in Ohio?
Now we do. Please welcome Sydnee Crews.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time out to come on the show.
Of course. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, so
Oh,
excuse
okay.
my nasal my
You are
nasal
just
voice.
fine. You are just fine. So, yeah, well, let's just jump on in it. I've
Okay,
already
cool.
done my introduction. So what made you start writing?
It is a kind of a funny, long-winded story, but basically I started writing when I was like a teenager, like poetry and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I started a master's program
Mm,
in social work, and I was working in a school in inner city Cleveland doing school social work, and I just needed an outlet, to be honest with you,
wow, okay.
um, because it was really intense. And so I got back to writing poetry, and then I said, maybe I want to write a short story.
Mm,
So I wrote some short stories after reading some JJ Salinger and or I think it's JD Salinger actually.
okay.
Um, but then I was like, I wonder if I could write a like a whole novel. And so I did that, but I wasn't really satisfied. I realized that I wanted to see it. And so um after thinking about that, I was like, well, how do I see it? And I was like, duh, Sydney, screenwriting. And so
Mm,
I just taught myself um how to screenwrite video YouTube videos, and then final draft, and here we are.
right. So that transition from pen and keystrokes to film, what made you, just have the courage to go that route instead of just sticking to, say, you know, writing?
Yeah, I think it had a lot to do with a realization of how much I loved film,
Okay.
and how much it gave me um a lot of peace. Like I would watch films when I was feeling really stressed, or like I
Mm,
wanted a good laugh. And um the courage piece of that is I'm a person that will try anything and
okay.
everything. So like I'm like, oh, am I a musician? No, I'm not. Okay, let's move on. Am I, a painter? No, I'm not. Okay, let's move on. So I've always had that about me, where I'm down to try anything once, and then, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And this just happened to be something that's worked.
Right. Okay. I feel you on that because I'm the same way. I like to say that I'm not scared of failure. That's what keeps me for,
Glad.
moving on to trying new things. I'm not scared to, say in the end, it didn't work for me as long as I gave it 100%. Um,
Right.
but as you know, I am uh, uh, actor in your film,
Yeah.
actually, a supporting actor,
Mhm.
Torrance, in movie Borderline. Now,
Mhm.
what? Okay, let me just tell you. When I first got the script, um,
Mhm.
I was a little, I should say standoffish because I only have a little bit of knowledge
Mhm.
when it comes to um,
mental health. Being that
Mm-hmm.
I have a brother-in-law that I believe he is diagnosed with schizophrenic bipolar,
Ooh, okay.
which you know, when I first met him, he wasn't like that. This developed over time. So I
Mm-hmm.
got to meet him before, and then I got to actually see the transition, and then
Mm-hmm.
he stayed with us. I still didn't understand, things of
Mm-hmm.
that nature. But
Mm-hmm.
when he stayed with us for I believe it was like a month, I believe, maybe a little less,
Mm.
I got to actually see and experience, um, you know, uh, see what he goes through and experience what others go
Right.
through when it comes to taking care of, someone uh, with the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess what inspired you to write Borderline?
Yeah. So, and that's interesting that the role that you played is kind of in line with part of your life. Um, but what what inspired me to write it was I always like to highlight that specifically Black people are not always superheroes,
Okay,
right? Like we're not always slaves.
right.
Because I think those are the things that we see as like extraordinary, like amazing stories that are great to tell,
Right,
or like, the struggle stories. And I like to highlight the fact that we're also somewhere in between, right? Where we
right.
are normal, because a lot of times we don't get to be normal, we don't get to be individuals.
Mm,
And so the prompt was just to make a horror film, and we had to use like either a pencil sharpener or a plunger,
okay.
and it had to be horror. I actually don't like horror films. I
Really?
was afraid writing this. Yeah.
That is funny because you won first place for this
Yeah.
script, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
is
so
cool.
yeah, and so the inspiration um really came from, like I said, I did started a master's program in social work, and my
Okay.
undergrad is in social work. So a lot of that was focused on mental health. And
Oh,
remember watching this video, and we had to kind of diagnose people, and this
mhm,
person seemed like they had um schizophrenia, but they actually had bipolar and were in psychosis, and so they kind of look the same.
okay.
um and so that's kind of where I got the inspiration for that character. um
Wow.
and also thinking about how can I swear on this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I just but also thinking about how fucked up it is that um our health system
Mm,
really fails people a lot of times,
right,
right? And like in this story, Torrance was failed. He
right.
needed to have his medication, but he lost his job, and things of that nature. And so all those components are things that I've just been thinking about over the course of time. And I was like, well, let's do this. Let's make it scary, because it is.
Right. So, okay, so throughout your studies,
Hmm.
and I don't know if you have any life experiences, but when it comes to mental health, within the Black communities, what are some issues that need to be addressed to help, those with mental health as well as family and friends?
Yeah. So there is like this overarching reluctancy in the Black and Brown communities, as I've learned, to
Mm,
address mental health.
okay.
We've heard like, oh, just pray on it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like your faith is strong enough to get you through, or
Right.
God will get you through. And the thing is, it's like, if that's part of your testimony, is believing in God and things.
Mhm.
Yes, he's always going to be there for you. And there are professionals put in place to intervene
Right.
right now. So I think that's one thing, is like not to shy away from the fact that we all have mental health, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, just like our physical health.
Right.
Um, and I think the other thing to know, like for family and friends, is like exercising like patience and grace,
Mhm.
especially for somebody that might be going through something. And you know, mental health issues can be temporary too. So understanding that this might not be forever, but if it is, like knowing that this person might need, you know, extra support and to just be validated. And the the other thing really is the the systems that are in place, right, is very centered in whiteness. And um because of that, the resources are low. So
Mm.
in certain areas where that are low income are oftentimes saturated with Black and brown people, and then
Right.
that causes them not to have access to mental health resources.
Right.
And so thinking about um, like as an activist or someone who wants to be an advocate for mental health, like those are some of the things that we got to think about, is how can we make sure that everybody has
Right.
access
Okay.
once they go ahead and say yes, okay, I need some help.
Okay. What would you think the biggest stigma of when it comes to Black and brown people to even, I don't even know what to even admit that you might need help? Um, is that a isn't that one of the issues where, I know
Yeah.
a couple people myself that I believe would need to, just go talk to someone. But they
Mhm.
don't want to talk to anyone. They think that self-medication is the way. They think that
Mhm.
avoiding conversations is the way. How could you help those type people?
Yeah, I think um the biggest thing is to say, like, you know, one is there's nothing wrong, and also understanding that, like, just because you need help doesn't mean that you're a failure, or it doesn't
Mm.
mean that you're less than. Because I think that's the issue, is that um especially for Black people in this country, we've had this thing where we have to, you know, that work twice as hard to get half as much. And that
Right.
goes into, I think, mental health too, right? Where it's
Mm.
like we don't have the luxury of having a mental health issue
Mm.
because um well, luxury is a bad word, but we don't have the opportunity to
Right.
be able to deal with and have that mental
Mm.
health issue because we have to work so hard.
Right.
And I think a lot of people think it's like a confirmation, like, oh, if I have this, then it's a confirmation that I'm weaker than,
Right.
you know, white people. And that's not the truth, right? Like,
Right.
we, in fact, I think Black people should get free mental health services for all the shit that's happened
I
to
feel you
us
on
over
that.
the generations. Like, I'll take reparations and free mental health
Right.
services, okay?
I agree. I agree. If so, what would you say to a caretaker, such as a close family friend or
Hmm.
family member that that because they have to go through the struggles as well. It's not just the journey that the person is going through.
Right.
It's everyone that's involved. So when speaking to someone that is caretaking someone with mental health, what's a
Hmm.
positive message that we could send out to them to just make them feel encouraged?
Yeah. First of all, like, to be a caretaker of somebody in need is that's something that's very special, you know. And
Mhm.
so knowing that you have that kind of heart, that heart that's full of kindness and
Right.
compassion and generosity, that's one thing, and just hold on to that. The other thing is, um you know, find ways to do self-care.
Mm.
um and like that could be as simple as, for me, is going to get my nails done. It's
Mhm.
an hour, you know, every 3 weeks,
Okay.
and I don't have to talk if I don't want to.
Right.
You know, but I can if I want to.
Right.
So doing things like that. And then also I would say, um, make sure that you can take care of your mental health, right?
Mm,
Like, also being the caretaker of somebody with a mental health issue
right,
is draining on you. So
right.
I would suggest that they get a therapist themselves, or,
Mm,
find a community that they can kind of pour into, that pours back into them, right? That um, helps them still feel full.
yeah.
Because a lot of times it can be very draining and you feel empty. So,
Okay. Well, thank you for
yeah,
that. Thank you
yeah.
for that. Okay, and I'm gonna switch gears now because
Okay.
I did a little homework on you. So yeah, you really uh, I have to say when I uh, read about the Black Ohio Film Group, I
Mm-hmm.
uh, I had no idea that you know that we actually had. I'm still new into the acting world. I've
Yeah.
started a while ago, but it's just been a little bit. But so now just getting
Mm-hmm.
into things. That is a game changer. So
Right.
congratulations on
Thank you.
that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. I hope to work with you one day. But
Absolutely.
um, what are your goals for Black Ohio Film Group?
Yeah. So my goals, and it's still fresh. I think maybe I released it about a month ago now. But my goal is to really be able to connect Black filmmakers in Ohio to each other,
Okay.
because I loved seeing, I don't know if you've got the chance to meet or heard of Kristen Stewart, here in Columbus. She runs the Columbus Black International Film Festival.
Oh,
And she also just did a film called Blue Rebellion. It's at the Greater Columbus Art Commission right now.
okay.
But I got to work on that set with her,
Right.
and it was a gang of Black people that we were all working together. And I was like, Kristen, dog, where did all these people come from? Because
Right.
I just didn't know. I've been doing film for about 5 6 years or so,
Okay.
and I knew some of them, or at least heard of some of them, but there's a lot of folks I was like, damn, like I want to be connected with you.
Right.
And I joked with her and I was like, is there like I know we have like Mid Ohio Film Association, which is super dope. And
Uh-huh.
we have like all these other Facebook groups. I was like, but is there something for like Black filmmakers in Ohio? And
Right.
she's like, no, no. And I joked, I was like, I'm gonna build it. And she said, do it. And then for some reason, that do it like really lit a fire under my ass. And so I did it.
Right.
Um, but my goal is that we would have like a brick and mortar, a building where we can meet and have different sessions where maybe we talk about acting, we talk
Okay.
about screenwriting, like different workshops.
Nice.
um but also that we would have a space where you could host like a screening for like your friends, family, and
Mm,
co-stars, things like that, your whole crew and cast.
right.
And then also like a editor's room
Okay.
where we would have different equipment so that people could come get their edits in and go, because that shit is expensive, right?
Yeah.
And um so that's my goal, is to create opportunities for Black people to work together on films, create Black films by Black people, and just create films in general, right? Like
Right.
it can have a white cast or a Asian cast or something like that, but just like getting Black people to create together. Um, and then having like an actual physical space for us to meet when we can.
Right.
And lastly, I hope to be able to offer grants to
Mm,
filmmakers, because that's another big barrier, right? Is that we films, like, you think about it, the films that we see on like Netflix, HBO Max, like them shits cost millions and millions of dollars, like
right.
$85 million. We can't give that away, but
Right.
you can make a really great film for $10,000. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I want to go
That's
that
really
route.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
That's good to
okay.
know. I got some ideas that one day I'm gonna put on paper.
Yes,
They just
absolutely.
stuck up here.
Right,
Right.
right.
But okay, so over the next 5 years, what
Hmm.
can we hope to expect from Sydnee Crews?
Um, Listen, I hope to um get a couple projects done. I am working on something right now that I think will be really, really big. Can't
Okay.
really announce it yet, but I think it
Okay.
will be
Okay.
really big. Um, I hope for people to see more projects, but BOFG to just blow up. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like my goal is that we Ohio is a pretty dope place.
Yeah.
Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati. I mean, some of the other places are like,
Right.
but
Right.
and I mean that in terms of like for Black people.
Right.
Um, but I think that would be so amazing for us to become like the Midwest hub of filmmaking because
Mm,
we have so much talent here. And
right.
so in the next 5 years, that's what I hope to be building and that people will start to see is like,
Okay.
okay, Ohio's on this film map for real.
Okay. Okay. And if people wanted to see more of your work, where could they go?
Yeah, so I actually have an LLC. It's called Live Unapologetically Media.
Okay.
And so if you just go to liveunapologeticallymedia.com,
Okay.
um, slash films, there's my work.
I'll make sure I put that in the link, uh,
Yeah,
the box below for them to click on and everything. So, um,
perfect.
I, okay, the last question I have for you is what can I do to help you spread your love and knowledge throughout this world?
Listen, I mean, this is amazing. What we're doing right now.
Yeah,
I would say, everybody just like, follow, subscribe.
for sure.
um, but I think what you can do personally is
Mhm.
make sure we stay in contact so we can work together.
Most definitely.
Um, I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is like that we stay connected.
Right.
And you connect to other people and so on and so forth. So we can have this network where we are really bonded together and we make shit that's for us and by us.
I agree. I am down. I'm going to stay in contact so much I'm gonna get on your nerves.
Nope. Ain't gonna get on my nerves. I promise you that.
Okay. Well, thank you again for coming to the show.
Yeah.
I look forward to working with you in the future.
Okay.
And thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks. You too. Nice
Oh, one
talking
more
to
thing.
you.
Is there anything else that you might want to mention? Any other links? Anything else?
Go follow Black Ohio Film Group. That's it. That's what we are on everything on Instagram, Facebook. We don't have a Twitter because I don't really know how to tweet or like that.
All right, all right.
But definitely go follow that. Also I'll give a shout out to my almost wife getting married on Juneteenth. So
Congratulations.
thank you. I hope everybody has a good day on that day, but I will have the best day.
For
So
sure. Hey, I'm working on going on 16 years of marriage. So I said, you found
amen.
the right one and you enjoy yourself. Hey, congratulations.
Right.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank
Y'all
you.
heard her. Look her up. Go see everything. All right. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy your day.
All right.
Bye.
Peace.